Today, we're going to continue the conversation on momentum. And, last time we went over some of the things that keep momentum going and what fuels momentum. So today we're going to talk about starting momentum and maintaining it. But if we're going to do that, first we have to talk about uh, one question in particular, and that is, does momentum last forever? And in theory, it should, because when something is put in motion, if there's nothing to stop it, it will continue to go on. Well, we know that there are things that stop momentum. So, unfortunately, momentum does not last forever. I've heard it said a lot. When you have momentum, you are better, you look smarter, you make better decisions when you have momentum behind you. And then when it's not there, you're not actually as bad of a leader as you think you are. The world isn't falling apart. It's just that you've lost the momentum. So by nature, it should continue to go on. But what are some of the reasons that we lose momentum? So before we get to how to start and how to maintain it, let's go over a couple things on how we lose it. That way you're aware of what happens to cause momentum to stop. And the first one is you just don't anticipate it. See, sometimes leaders just don't realize that they're in momentum or that they're starting to create momentum. So you have to have a keen awareness and anticipate that you are in momentum. So when you know that things are starting to go forward and move faster than it would be if you were doing all of the work. So say your team is starting to push along with you, which gets the ball rolling. Continue to focus on what you can do to help accelerate them, because good leaders anticipate. Bad leaders react to things. So, as a good leader, you know that there's going to be problems that arise. There's going to be a bump in the hill that causes that rock of momentum to slow down or to stop. So, you need to see those, anticipate them, and not wait until after you hit it to try and create the momentum. The other ones is we as leaders tend to overcomplicate things. We put too many things in place. That's why you see a big push this year in getting things back to basics, getting things simplified, getting the system to be so easy that it's duplicatable and it creates momentum. So if you want to keep momentum going, if you don't want it to stop complicating things. How do you do that? Well, take a look at your system. Are you adding things in there that's going to overcomplicate it for a new person and cause it to slow down? Have you put things in place that keep people focused on things rather than the actions they need to be doing in order to be successful? Also, again, leaders don't understand momentum. So, one thing you have to learn is, what are some signs of momentum? Is it just you doing work? Because that is addition. When you have your team working together, when you've got a team working towards a goal, when you've created those things, that is when you look and see, is momentum taking place? And if you can't recognize that, reach out to the leader above you and ask for help in understanding how momentum works and what it looks like, because that will allow you to keep momentum going. Because the last thing that we want to have take place is for you to not understand it and you get in the way of the momentum of your team, causing it to slow down or actually stop. So, how do we start momentum? How do we get it quickly going? Well, like I said, you have to get a group around a cause. You have to have a reason for people to work a little bit harder than they normally would on their own. So, again, it comes back to the why. What is the why for you? What is the why for them? Then use that to push to another level. Because the other thing you need to figure out is, do you need an inward burst of momentum? So focus on yourself. Is it something about you? Do you need another energy level higher in order to get those around you excited? Do you need to do it in order for yourself to get excited? Because here's the thing, we all know that we as leaders can't fill up another person's cup if our cup is empty. So that's why I love that you guys are plugged in here. That's why I love that you're bringing your teams here, because not only is it filling you up, it's getting your team filled up at the same time, which allows you to have the energy to pour into others. So you have to look inwards and say, what am I doing to keep my cup filled so that I can go out and fill others? Because people with a full cup attract more people. They attract momentum. So a leader that has no passion is a manager. And what we know is that managers become resented. Because if you have a team and you're not leading your team, if you are just pointing and saying, go, they tend to resent you more than they do working with and for you. So as a leader, you need to make sure that you're filled so that you have the passion to continue to lead and not fall into the management trap, which is something that would automatically cause people to start resenting you because they're going to say, well, if I'm doing it, why aren't you doing it? You know, we always talk about leading by example. That is the quickest way to keep and maintain momentum is by leading by example. Other things you have to think about is, do you need to make a change in your leadership? Do you have that one person that when your phone rings or you see a message in your DMs that you're just like, oh, what now? You need to take time to figure out if that is something that you need to directly address with that individual, with that leader. Because if it leads to a spread of that in your team, that will keep your momentum from starting, or it will keep it from going. So all of a sudden, if you don't address it, guess what? You as the leader are a part of the problem. So by addressing those things up front, you can actually eliminate problems. In some cases, you can actually turn people around and give them a positive result. Because guess what? Me as a leader, I don't know when I'm doing things wrong sometimes. I think I may be doing it right, but somebody that is mentoring me may point out, hey, that is not what you need to be doing. And I never would have known if that mentor didn't come in and step in and say, there is another better way that you should be doing this. So you as the leader, in order to jumpstart your momentum, need to address and help coach and mentor those leaders and those upcoming leaders in your team, because that is how you multiply the return on your time. You know, everything that you can do to help underperforming leaders on your team to become better is just one step closer to getting momentum happening faster. Well, the other thing you have to do is, do you have to reallocate your time? So many leaders struggle because of the fact that they're doing the same thing over and over again, and they think that if they just do it a little bit better, they'll get better results. Well, sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes you have to look at doing something different in order to get momentum jumping. So if you've been doing the same old, same old, same old, here's my recommendation. Continue doing that to maintain the consistency of where you're at, but also take some time to look at additional things that you can do to create momentum, to go outside of what you've been doing, to create additional excitement, additional momentum to your team. And then the other thing that we as leaders, we get into a comfort mode. You know, we get things and we put it on autopilot. And guess what? Autopilot is the death of momentum. So you need to be willing to do something that you've been unwilling to do in order to create momentum. You know, maybe it is doing just one more. We talk about Ed Mylett's The Power of One. Just one more activity, one more contact per day, one more ask per day, one more post per day could be that one thing that tips you from being at stagnant to momentum. One more activity could be the determiner. Sometimes it could be two more. So you have to ask yourself at the end of the day, is there just one more thing that I could do? One more person that I could reach out to? One more conversation with a leader to encourage them that I could do? But then there's other things that you should think about. What things about you do you need to change? This is where it becomes internal. Is there something in you that needs to be changed? Is it a mindset? Is it a way of doing things? Is it something that you've been speaking to people? What is something like that that needs to be changed? And then again, going back to what is something that you've been putting off doing that you should be doing, that you should attack at the beginning of the day? So guys, here's some very quick things in your business that you can do to help jumpstart your momentum. You can change your marketing strategy. For those of you that don't know, Stephanie and I did a social media training last night. It's going to be posted shortly so everybody can go watch the replay. This is huge because it will help you understand how to master your social media. So are you looking at different ways to change the way that you're putting yourself out there? You could target a new niche. We talk about the pillars, the things that you're known for. Well, is there something that you're secretly excited about that you don't post on social media? Let's use a really good example. Are you a cat or dog person? Have you posted anything about that? Because guess what that's going to do? That's going to allow you to connect to other cat and dog people. And guess what? Other cat and dog people have same needs and desires like you do. So it's a great way to connect and create a larger network to create momentum. Create incentives and programs for the people on your team. Now, our company does a great job at this, but what are you doing internally with your team to maybe create a competition or create a contest? And it doesn't have to be anything major. It could be recognition. People love recognition, and you can start out there, start out with recognition, and then you can move to small prizes from there. This is a great way to get people involved and additionally excited about being a part of your community. Also, another great thing is offer additional products and services to your existing customers. You worked hard to get those customers. Now you need to help them achieve their goals. And that could be by offering them additional products or services that they aren't currently using. Create a referral program for your customers. That's a great way to get it, because guess what? The best question you can ask your customers: who do you know that I should know that I could help? That's a great way of creating momentum within your customers. Interview your customers and find out where they came from, why they saw what you were sharing, what they were looking for. And then also, when you have a customer that maybe stops ordering, do an exit interview with them and find out if there was anything that you could have done to help them more. When your teams and you do this and upgrade your customer experience, guess what happens? You have customers that stay on, they order more, they order longer, which increases your momentum and your ability to go for promotions and to increase what you are doing. So these are just some of the ways in your business that you can increase your momentum. So guys, let's go back over. Got to get back to my notes because that was on a 5th page. One thing you need to do is you need to learn to anticipate momentum. Then you need to not complicate it. When you complicate it, you kill it. When you understand it, you know how to maximize it. You need to make sure that you have an inward energy level, a burst of excitement. You need to fill your cup in order to fill the cups of others. Do you need to address issues within your leaders that may keep momentum from starting? And then maybe you need to reallocate your time and the things that you're focusing on in order to maximize, create, and sustain greater momentum. And then finally, do the things that others are unwilling to do, because you are the leader. And the leader that does those things is the one that creates momentum and creates the following and creates the massive organization that goes out and does incredible things. Guys, go out and make it an amazing week, and I hope your day is as awesome as you are.